Hey, Steve Stine from Guitarzoom here. Thank you so much for joining me. When I was a kid and I used to read guitar magazines, things like that, I always thought what would be super cool is if they took these artists that I loved and gave them a situation where they had to play over a jam track that they had never heard before and didn't have time to prepare for or anything like that, and just see what came out, good and bad, and then discuss what they did. So actually, my buddy and I, when I was in California, my buddy Tim Pierce and I, what we did is exactly that. Tim came up with this chord progression, and then we just sat down and recorded each other jamming to it. And everything isn't perfect. And what we do in this video, what you're going to do is you're going to see Tim's point of view on it. He's going to jam over the track, and then we're going to talk about what he did and why and what he was thinking. And then there's going to be a link in the description below where you get to watch my point of view, and I'm going to jam over the same track. Again, everything isn't perfect, and then we're going to talk about what I did, and you can see how both Tim and I have vastly different points of view on how we approach things. So this was a really great little exercise on trying to see how guitar players just like you approach thinking about something. Now, I thought before we get started, it would be fun to show you a similar idea of what the chord progression was. Now, when Tim recorded it, he did a drop D thing. I'm not in drop D, but basically what we're doing is we're playing this D idea like this. So what I'm doing is I'm going up here and I'm playing 0, 7, 7, 0. So if you think about it overall, really what you're doing is you're moving from a D chord to an E chord with D in the bass. That D stays in the bass. So that's what we were jamming over. And then occasionally in this song, it moves to an A chord. Now, you're going to notice what we're actually playing over the top. Certainly in my jam, I wasn't sure when the A comes up. I knew there was an A coming, but I didn't know where it was. So again, how do you respond to that in your head when all of a sudden you hear this A and you weren't sure it was going to be there? What are you doing? And so it's just really fun. Ultimately, we talk about this, but basically what you're doing more or less is you're jamming in A major, but because the emphasis is on that D chord, it's more like D Lydian. And again, you're going to hear us talking about that. So it's good. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and I think they turned out quite well. So enjoy the video. Please do me a favor and like the video, share the video with somebody who could use the insight, and please subscribe to the channel. And make sure that you check out Tim Pierce's page with the links below in the description.
Okay, let's talk.
That's awesome.
So I actually had a little bit of a difficult time seeing the imprint of A major over the D chords, and that's, you know, staying in D Lydian.
Right.
I had fun with it, but it was a challenge. Definitely.
Right.
And at the end, I stopped because I made a mistake. I went out.
Right. Well, and I actually was kind of digging that because for me, like a lot of times when you make some sort of mistake, and we'll talk about this too, because at the end there you changed the scale that you were using, and it just sounded cool. So basically, the first thing, let's just make sure we start with a platform here. So we're in the key of A major, and the accent is on D, right? So that puts us in D Lydian.
Right.
So What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about landing on D chord tones. I'm thinking about massaging this sharp 4, which is where all the beautiful tension comes from. So what I'm seeing is an A major scale imprinted over D chord shapes. If I'm being totally honest, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm seeing D chord shapes everywhere so that when I land, it's hopefully on a D sympathetic chord note. But as I'm playing, I'm wanting to stay in an A major scale.
Right.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and you know, needless to say, Tim is an amazing guitar player the way it is. But when you listen to him, what I love about your phrasing, aside from the logical things like your bending and certainly your vibrato is awesome, but you're very conscious of offbeats.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And when we listen to this, which we're going to do in a second here, you're going to hear that in Tim's playing. That is I just love your phrasing.
Okay,
so when I get back to North Dakota, I'm probably going to steal half of this stuff. So
likewise.
So let's go ahead and let's listen to it, and you stop it whenever you want to talk about something within that solo.
Let's start there.
So you're walking down, right?
Yeah.
And let's just show us what you're doing there.
Basically, A major. But the beauty of that against the D, it sounds mysterious.
So great.
And the dissonant of the A against the A flat or G sharp, whatever you want to call it. It's the best.
Yep.
But it's a safe place to land. So if I walk down from the A note and land on a D note, I'm in the key of A major, but I'm landing on a D, and that's safe. So I see the actual D shape right here.
Right.
And then E over D is the other tonality that really you can kind of speak with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's find that.
Oh, that's good stuff.
What is that? And that's a convenient little thing right there because I'm playing with the dissonance. So here's A, here's D. A way to be kind of fast with just left-hand speed. Slam across the strings with my right hand to get, that's something I do all the time too.
Right.
When I play one note with distortion, I often slam down across all the strings in front of the note.
Right, to get that percussion.
Let's see what happens next.
Yeah, see? That's so great. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, and and I'm like, wow, that was fast and fluent, very legato, which is the kind of playing I really love anyway. But
well, I'm abandoning really the chord tones and just being free in A major, knowing that I will have to play by the rules in a few seconds.
Right.
But there are no rules now. I'm just playing in A major as fast as I can.
Right.
Turning the mind off and just letting the hand kind of play in A major. And then at a certain point, let's see where I land. Let's see where I bail out and find a stone to land on in the river. I'm down here. Right. And it wasn't the most graceful landing. Let's talk about that. It was okay.
Right. Well, and let's make sure that the viewer understands. You and I are literally just jamming. Like we're not going back and trying to touch anything up. We decided we were just going to press play and record and go.
Yes.
And then talk about even the mistakes and what we're thinking about.
Yep.
So when you were coming down to that, you were leaving abandonment and you're coming to somewhere. Were you conscious of what you were trying to get to, or did you just stop?
Well, I was conscious of landing on a D note and bailing out of the speed. Like if I'm playing a fast riff and I've done 18 notes in a row as fast as I can,
right,
I'm going to look for a safe harbor, and that's what this is. That's
right.
really all this is. Yeah.
Right.
And it's the D note that was nearest to where my hand was already sitting. And when I landed on it, I vibratoed as wide as I could, and that was a way of adding the most authority to it.
Right.
For better or for worse, that made me feel like I had command of it.
Right, that's right.
Shaking it really, really hard. Moving on. Okay, now literally, at that point, let's see what that is. Okay, so I've moved up the neck in a new position, and I guarantee you at that point, I've said to myself, maybe my hand actually is fatigued.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't know if that happens to you or not, but after going like this, and vibratoing that heavy, playing that fast, and it takes strength to vibrato
right.
that heavy.
That's right.
So I go slow, I go melodic, and I give my hand a rest.
Right.
By playing playing slow and being melodic, my hand actually gets to relax again for a second.
Right.
And
I like
this is safe. Landing on an A is fine in the key of D.
Yep.
And then I took a risk up here and went to the last fret on the guitar. Right?
Yeah, and you're either gonna get it on the bend, or you can always bring it back down and get it on the way back down.
Yeah, and you don't know if it might be thin up there.
Yeah,
depending
right.
on the tone.
Right.
It really is a risk going to the last fret.
Right. For me, like, you've got a delay set on here, and it's on those high notes. It sounds really killer with that delay on there, because it really fattens things up,
Yeah. Now we can talk about that. I gave you reverb on your solo. But for me, I remembered that I had delay in the box too, and I thought I'm going to have some delay too. You would have liked to have delay too, probably, right?
Well, it depends. If I'm feeling right and I've got some speed in there, oftentimes I'll leave the delay out.
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling it, then oftentimes I'll use that as my helper, is to put a little delay in there.
I like to have delay in the Pro Tools session because I can always take it away.
Oh, sure.
And actually, when people hire me and they have me play a solo, I always do it only in Pro Tools, so they can turn it totally off if they want.
Right.
But we were talking about how it's really nice for inspiration to at least have reverb on. And it's okay these days to have reverb.
It for me, and I think most people admit, but it's a comfort thing. So when you're playing totally dry, you can kind of freak yourself out a little bit. So it's nice to have something, even if you're planning on taking it off later, just to make yourself feel a little more comfortable. Yeah,
and the nice thing about having it in the recording situation is that you can dry it up later. But it's just like you're on stage. If you're on stage in a big hall or a big room, you're going to hear ambience. And why not have that? Why not give yourself that?
That's right.
So always try putting some reverb on, and it'll make you feel more relaxed. I started to laugh there because I went into Southern rock. That's not, and it's part of my DNA, basically.
Well, and I tell you, when I heard you do that, I thought to myself, I didn't do that. Like, on mine, I stayed totally within the confinements of what I had already created, so I kind of dug that you went out. That's what I was saying in the beginning, is I kind of dug that you went outside there.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's not so much Southern. I mean, the Allman Brothers were a huge part of my past, and so was Leonard Skinner. And then I came up during all of the country rock that was really huge, like Poco and the Eagles and all that. And, we were all going...
Right.
So, yeah, it's something... It's kind of, I don't know if it fits with the other style, but I had to laugh when I did it.
Yeah.
I was like,
I liked it because I wasn't expecting it, and again, I never, in my train of thought, I never even went there.
Right, yeah. Okay, let's play a little more. Oh, I enjoyed that. Now, that's a thing where it was like, where the heck am I? I'm lost. I'm totally lost. But I'm taking the time to drop like this, from the F sharp down to the E. And I was able to land on a D downbeat at the right moment. And I had to laugh there, too, because that's taking something, an insecure moment and just kind of finding a solution.
Well, and I tell you, there was one in which we didn't talk about, but there was one in my video where I did the same thing. I was up high, and all of a sudden my brain just kind of blanked out. So I was stuck on a note, so I just vibratoed it until something else came to mind. It happens all the time.
Yeah, that's what I just did. So this is literally me saying, where the heck am I right now? Oh, I'm on a D, okay, so yeah. And then prior to that, just playing A major over D as fast as I can, descending. Let's finish this out here. So this is the kind of thing you can get on one string and you can just play melodies on one string for days.
Right.
So again, trying to remember we're in A major, which is eluding me a little bit. On the B string, just
Right.
staying in A major and landing on D chord tones.
Right.
Simple as that.
And notice how Tim, as you're watching this too, he's got this motif of this da-da-don, da-da-don. It's not just about how fast he can get those notes out, but he's trying to create something with those notes, which is really important.
Yeah, and melody is often repetition. If you take something and you move it different places, it becomes a melody, and the repetition is good. As long as you don't do it forever.
Right.
And maybe you can mix it up with some little variations.
Right. Yeah, right.
I want to get to that note that was not in the scale. I see. I could have pretended that that worked.
Well, and those little, go back to the, real quick, those little slides you were doing in there.
That's just, okay, so one string playing, like I was talking about.
Right.
But that's also one finger playing.
Right.
My index finger is just dropping. In
Right.
A major. I wish I had gone.
Yeah, right.
And I actually could have pretended that it wasn't a mistake, like you said.
Right.
And but it kind of, that's where I ended the solo and wanted to admit that I kind of stepped out of the key.
Right. Oh, yeah, right. Well, and neither, to be honest, what's cool about this stuff is, like, whenever I try and teach these sorts of things, you know, you assign yourself into a situation. So you've got a scale or a mode or however you want to think about this thing. Like when you stepped out to do the Southern Rock thing, you could step out of this. You're on D enough to where you could step out and do something else like D major and possibly get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool.
Yeah, you can bend the rules.
Yeah,
you really
right.
can.
Right.
You really can. I mean, you can even do, you know, I'm going to do one more thing before we adjourn. You can go chromatic, and as long as you land in the right place. Do that one more time. Let me disguise it a little more.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So that's the other thing. If you really lose it, just turn it into exultant chromaticism.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And that was something I heard. Just turn it into I meant to be chromatic, and I'm going outside.
I've done these where, I don't know if I got sound, but I've done these where you do this. You just go up one string and fake your way through that.
Yeah, it works. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. It's just super cool. It was a lot of fun, and it was really great to hear Tim's perspective on how he approached soloing over that. And please do me a favor, check the link out below in the description to go to Tim Pierce's YouTube channel and see how I approached it as well, and kind of compare and contrast the two different ideas on how to solo over this chord progression. So take care, stay positive. Please subscribe to the channel and share the video, and we'll talk to you soon.